oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then...
Okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because he will not get hit.
And the boxing world is buzzing as Gervonta Tank Davis steps into camp looking sharper than ever before. Recent training footage has sent shockwaves across social media. Tank is unleashing explosive power on the heavy bag with unmatched precision and focus. Every punch, every movement screams purpose. His conditioning looks elite, his energy unshakable, and his confidence unbreakable. Analysts say this version of Tank is operating on a whole new level, stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. But they remind fans that to win, he must rely on intelligence, not emotion. The key will be movement, timing, and control, not chasing an early knockout. Tank's magic lies in his patience, his ability to read an opponent and strike when the moment is perfect. Experts agree, if Davis keeps his composure, Jake Paul won't be able to match his speed, timing, or precision. And while his knockout power makes headlines, it's Tank's defense and counterpunching that make him truly special. When he fights smart, no fighter of Jake's level can survive his mix of skill, power, and discipline. Experts believe Jake Paul is walking straight into the toughest test of his career. They predict that once he shares the ring with Gervonta Davis, he'll face a level of speed, experience, and fight IQ that he's never come close to before. Jake's past opponents might have been bigger, but none possessed Tank's timing, reflexes, or ability to exploit mistakes in an instant. Analysts warn that the moment Davis lands clean, the power difference will become undeniable. Jake's defense, still unrefined, won't be enough to withstand the precision of a fighter who's spent his life in the sport. Davis isn't reckless. He's a tactician. Every punch is calculated, every move measured. And that's what makes a knockout feel almost inevitable. Most believe that when Tank connects, Jake won't recover. The fight could end in one sudden, brutal moment, the kind that defines careers and silences doubters.
Can his speed and, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. It's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta's just going to, stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the best boxers ever.
Question of weight has become one of the biggest talking points leading up to this fight. Many argue the size difference is simply too big to ignore, while others insist that Tank's refined skill set makes size irrelevant. Fans remain divided. Some say the matchup is unfair, others call it genius. But Tank supporters remind everyone, boxing isn't about size. It's about skill, control, and timing. They point out that Davis has built his reputation defeating bigger men, using his speed, angles, and discipline to dominate. Jake Paul may be heavier, but weight doesn't teach ring IQ. Analysts believe Jake's fundamentals are still too basic to truly threaten someone as technically advanced as Tank. And once the fight begins, Davis's precision, defense, and timing could completely neutralize Jake's physical advantage.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters, and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big. No, Tank's gonna go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down. He done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy, and just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all want to say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This Gervonta Tank Davis, he needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killers.
Chilla Killers. Chilla Killers.
MMA legend Michael Bisping weighed in with a balanced take, praising Tank Davis's brilliance while reminding everyone that size still matters. He respects Davis's ability to adapt, but admits that the physical difference could test Tank's endurance and ability to absorb heavier shots. Even so, Bisping admires Davis's mindset, a fighter who thrives under pressure and never backs down from a challenge. He believes that if anyone can overcome this obstacle, it's Gervonta Davis. His conclusion is simple. While the weight gap is real, Tank's technical sharpness, ring IQ, and heart may be more than enough to overcome Jake Paul's physical advantage. As long as he stays composed and executes perfectly.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seems set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Boxing. Analysts have begun to call out the critics who continue to disrespect Gervonta Davis's resume. They argue that his impact on the sport goes far beyond wins and losses. Fighters who share the ring with him often leave with greater recognition, bigger paydays, and newfound respect. Take fighters like Lamont, virtually unknown before facing Tank, who saw their careers skyrocket afterward. That's not luck. That's influence. Analysts say Tank isn't just a champion. He's a star maker. His fights generate buzz, create moments, and keep boxing relevant to the mainstream audience. They reject the idea that Davis isn't the face of boxing, reminding everyone that his presence alone turns any event into a spectacle. To underestimate him is to misunderstand how much he's done for the sport. Tank Davis isn't just a fighter. He's an era-defining figure who lifts everyone around him every time he steps through the ropes.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that. because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight, against Cesar Chavez Jr. Apparently, no one watched that fight. Apparently, the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now, listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.